Hello, Chris here with Gav, and today we're going to be talking about some of the films coming out in 2015. Now, we've already done a big preview of the movies with 15 films in that preview, but we're going to do one solely focused on British films. Woo. 7 of them, in fact.
Yeah.
So we're going to leave out 3 of them, Ex Machina, Kingsman: The Secret Service, and Spectre, because they're in the big preview.
Right, okay, yeah.
So these are the ones that we didn't make it onto there.
Okay, didn't make the list, but are still really great British films.
Well, we're up for them.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
So first up, we've got Legend.
Yeah, that does look really good. No trailer yet, but...
No trailer, no release date, but this is a new film about the Kray Twins. Now, can you tell us a bit about the Krays for maybe our American cousins who don't know?
If you haven't seen the Krays, you have to seek it out. It's the Kemp brothers portraying these real life crazy sort of mafia guys, well, I guess British gangsters really, the original British gangsters almost.
Yeah.
And they did some pretty nasty stuff.
Yeah.
Identical twins as well, who sort of run London's underground at some point.
Yeah, as you say, there was a film that came out, and I think it was about 1990.
Yeah.
But this is a new version of the Kray story, and it stars Tom Hardy as Ronnie Kray and Tom Hardy as Reggie Kray.
That's right, yeah.
So obviously they're using some split screen, special effects, green screen and stuff to make that work. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be a novelty or whether that'll be... Well, I mean, they've released one still, and he does look like...
It's amazing.
He looks like both of them, really.
Exactly, yeah. I guess maybe they're using the same kind of technology as a Social Network.
Yeah.
Maybe, and that, I mean, that's flawless, I think. There's a lot of times where you can't tell, that they're different people. And I think it's a cool idea having one person playing both things. Almost like The Double sort of did it in a sort of really good way, where you have the character playing, the same actor playing sort of 2 different characters.
And we know that Hardy can do British gangsters, because he kind of burst on the scene with Bronson.
Exactly,
on TV. I think it was The TV show, where he was a gangster as well. It's Brian Hangeland is writing and directing, who did LA Confidential. So
that'd be amazing,
he knows what he's doing in that genre.
They've done some really dark stuff as well, so it'll be interesting to see what the real life guys did some pretty dark stuff.
They pretty much ran London throughout the 60s, 50s and 60s, and then at 69 they got arrested and sentenced to life in prison for a murder, and they're both dead now, but
there we are.
We will see. And there's some good actors in that one as well, some good British actors. Christopher Eccleston's David Thewlis.
Do you know who's playing their mum? Because that's a big thing, isn't it? Their relationship with their mother is a really huge thing.
I don't. I know Emily Browning's playing Reggie's wife, but because that was what the 1990 film concentrated on, didn't it? Cool, all right. Next up, Monsters Dark Continent, which is coming out on February the 27th in the UK and April in the States.
I'm pumped for this.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I love Monsters, and it looks like... The thing I love about Monsters is obviously, it's a sci-fi film, but they focus on this really, really small story. Yeah. And I think with Dark Continent, from what I've seen so far, they're going to be focusing on small story, but the small story is going to be soldiers and, sort of fighting in the ranks and things like that, and training. That basically like Jarhead with aliens. Yeah.
It's set 10 years after the original film, when kind of the infected zone has kind of spread worldwide. Yeah. And they're kind of young, raw recruits. I know that the first kind of half hour of the film was a bit, I don't know, deer huntery almost, and you see these guys in their homes, in their home life, and kind of the night before they go out to battle, and then you suddenly cuts to the war zone, and then it's like a rescue mission. Yeah. I mean, we reviewed it out at the London Film Festival and didn't give it a hugely positive review, but I'm keeping an open mind.
Yeah, I really like Joe Dempsey as well, the Game of Thrones guy. He plays, what's his name, Gendry in Game of Thrones. He's a really good character in that.
Yeah, so Joe Dempsey's great, and Johnny Harris is really good, who's in it as well.
And the director as well, it's Tom Green, not that one, but he directed a lot of Misfits, and I love Misfits. I think it's really, really good.
Yeah, Misfits is amazing.
It's a really good sort of superhero thing, and that's another thing that's a series that deals with superheroes and superpowers, but does in a really, really small way. So if they can deal with the monsters in the same small way, I think it'll be a really, really cool movie.
He's a nice bloke as well. We'll try and get that Tom Green in.
That'd be awesome.
Next up, we got Kill Your Friends, which doesn't have a release date yet. No. What do you know? But do you know anything about this one?
I don't know that much about it at all. I've seen a couple of people sort of liken it to American Psycho.
Yeah, it's by John. It's based on a book by John Niven, which came out in 2008, which I read a few years ago.
Yeah.
Which is really, really good fun. And I think that's a fair comparison, the American Psycho thing. Yeah. But rather than set in the world of finance and business, it's set in the music industry in the mid-1990s.
Awesome.
When Britpop was at its height. And I was a big Britpop kid as well. And it's this A&R man
Do you have a bucket hat?
No, even then I didn't have much hair. Stephen Stelfox is the character who kind of drinks, drugs, murders his way to the top.
Right.
He's a really nasty piece of work, but you kind of quite like him.
Yeah.
And it's just a really fun book with a really awesome anti-hero.
Yeah.
So they spent a few years trying to make the movie of it, and I remember Rafe Fiennes? No, it was Oh, who's the guy who Rafe Spall was going to play the character, but they've since made it with Nick Holt instead.
Okay.
So it's interesting because Nick Holt almost always plays nice characters.
Yeah.
You know, people know him from X-Men First Class as Beast. So it'd be interesting to see if he can pull off being a really nasty piece of work.
Yeah, it sort of strikes me as a similar thing to James McAvoy in Filth. Is that sort of similar to it?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting, and if nothing else, it will have a cool soundtrack.
Oh, okay, cool.
Next up, we have got a movie called Robotlords. Now, the biggest film in the world last year was Transformers: Age of Extinction.
Yeah.
And I think the Brits have said, we can give this a go.
Yeah.
So this is a family film about giant robots invading the planet.
Right.
Set in the UK, and yeah, it's set 3 years after they've invaded. We've pretty much lost the war.
Yeah.
And they've made everyone stay in their homes, and the adults have pretty much given up, but the kids haven't, and so it's a film about the kids kind of banding together to try and fight back.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a family film. It might skew a little young for the IGN audience. I don't know, but
is it? I mean, it strikes me as like it's not like Transmorphers or anything like that, is it? It's not one of those types of films.
I don't know what Transmorphers is.
You know, there's like straight to DVD films that come out in like they sell them for like £2 every time like a big budget movie comes out.
Certainly, I know people have seen it, and I think it's high quality than that. And in terms of actors,
it's got Ben Kingsley.
Yeah, Ben Kingsley is playing a kind of villain who collaborates with the robots, I believe.
Right. Okay.
And he's always good value.
Yeah.
Gillian Anderson is in it as one of his captors.
Right, cool.
So there's some quite good actors in it. The effects look good, you know, without being quite Transformers standard. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, you've put it on the list for a reason, I'm guessing. So
yeah, well, listen, open mind. I haven't seen it yet. This is just preview, but yeah, we'll be. I will be seeing it the next week though. So
cool.
We'll have more on that one soon. It's out on February the 13th.
Okay.
Next up, Spooks: The Greater Good.
Like you couldn't pay me to go see this film.
Okay. Have you seen Spooks?
I think I saw like one episode, but it's basically like it's like a British.
It's like a British 24. If
right.
I mean, it did screen in the States, and it was called MI5 in the States.
Okay.
The show ran for 10 years, 10 series.
10 years.
Yeah, 9 years, 10 series.
Jesus.
So the film is kind of. I don't know. I think they're trying to launch a new franchise, really, a British-based spy franchise that isn't Bond.
But if it's been going for 10 series in 9 years, why haven't they done a film before?
Well, the series ended in 2011, and I guess this seems to be something that people do. Like after a series ends, they kind of like Entourage has done that recently.
So. It's a big gap, though, isn't it, between the series end? Like, I mean, it was never huge over here.
Yeah,
like...
and I guess they've got to aim it towards people who don't even watch the series, or maybe hate the series like yourself.
Yeah, I guess so.
So,
who's in it?
Well, Peter Firth, who people who watch the series will know, is it Harry Pearce, who's kind of runs the agency, the MI5 department, and. He's in it, but the kind of guy that they're using as the star to kind of launch this film is Kit Harington.
Oh, right, okay, cool.
Who Game of Thrones fans will know. Is he Jon Snow?
Yes.
I don't watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So he's kind of the young agent who I think will take centre stage in the film.
Okay, cool.
And it sounds like it kind of trots the globe a little bit. It's all about a terrorist who escapes from their custody and they've got to get him back. So we'll see. I mean, it's a year that Bond's coming out, so they're trying to steal a little bit of his thunder. Who knows? It might cross over, or it might just feel like a TV movie.
Yeah, it's always fun to see Game of Thrones characters and other things as well. And that's that film is Pompeii, but
yeah, I mean, and he's the one that you feel like they keep trying to launch him as a movie star. Pompeii Silent Hill movie and that, and it's not quite happened for him yet. But maybe this will be the role.
Hopefully.
Don't know. Right, next up, Hyena, which comes out in the UK on March the 6th. Now, you had a look at the trailer of this one. What did you make of it?
It looks really good. Like, when it first started, it was that sort of, we're sort of tough policemen, we don't mind breaking the rules type thing, which I can't stand. Like, but then seems like there's a little bit more to it.
Yeah.
It just looks like a really, really dark crime thriller.
Yeah. It is. I've actually seen this one.
Okay, cool.
It's really nasty.
Yeah.
It's directed by a guy called Gerard Johnson, who did a movie called Tony about 4 or 5 years ago that became quite well known. It was a British serial killer film that cost about 20 quid, and it became quite famous for that.
Okay.
And it was good, but this is a great movie, I'd say.
Right, okay.
It's really unpleasant. I think that what I'd compare it to is Bad Lieutenant.
Okay.
The Harvey Keitel movie, the original one. It's like that because he's a really... I mean, you're on his side, but you're not sure why for a lot of the film. But he's a nasty, corrupt cop.
Who's the guy?
He's played by an actor called Peter Ferdinando, who has been in a lot of British films. People will know he's been in a couple of Ben Wheatley films, and people will know him from Start Up if they saw that last year. He played the guy running the prison, the criminal running the prison.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah. he's a great actor, but it's also the supporting cast is really good.
Right.
Stephen Graham and Neil Maskell are in it.
Awesome.
Who are the two best English psychos in the business.
Yeah.
Graham is, of course, Al Capone in Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah.
And Neil Maskell was the lead in Kill List.
Kill List, yeah. Okay.
And also, what's that TV show that was really weird?
Utopia.
Utopia.
Yeah.
And they're both in it. They're both great. Mana Bering, who's in Kill List as well, she's in it.
Yeah.
He's
He's
really
a psycho.
intense.
Like, just looking at him, like, he always looks like he's about to kick off.
Yeah, he spends the film like that.
Excellent.
It's not for the faint-hearted, and it's a pretty grim watch, but it's really well put together.
Okay.
And it's also like those Italian Polizia films, if you saw them in the 70s, anything like that. Yeah, it's very atmospheric, all neon lit.
Yeah. It seems like, from the trailer, everything seems to take place in a blue club.
Yeah.
Like, I'm up for it.
It's not a barrel of laughs.
Yeah.
Similarly, our final film that we're picking, Highrise, will not be a barrel of laughs.
No, okay.
So this is the aforementioned Ben Wheatley's latest film, the man who brought us Down Terrace, Kill List, Sightseers, and A Field in England.
Yeah.
So this is his fifth film, and it's an adaptation of J.G. Ballard's novel from 1975.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the novel. So,
No,
yeah,
I haven't read it. I might try and read it in advance of seeing the film.
Maybe.
But it's set in a high rise. I think it's kind of in a grim sort of not too distant future,
right.
And it's kind of a luxury high rise that's cut itself off from the rest of society, and then the people within the high rise start turning upon each other. Tom Hiddleston's playing the lead. Yeah, he's playing a doctor who lives in the building. Okay. Luke Evans is in it. Right. Jeremy Irons plays the guy who created the architect of the high rise.
Okay.
So I mean, I always get excited about a Ben Wheatley film. So even though they always make me feel a bit sick inside.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel the same way with Shane Meadows films. Like, I look forward to those. But I know it's not going to be very nice to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough watch.
Yeah.
So I mean, he hasn't put a foot wrong yet, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm really excited about that one. So if you could see one of these films tomorrow, which one would it be, Gav?
I think I'm going to have to go for Monsters Dark Continent.
Yep.
Yeah, because I missed out at the London Film Festival, and that was one of the big regrets that I missed.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I loved Monsters, and I feel so uneasy watching Monsters, just the tentacles and things like that. Like, and I hope Dark Continent does that for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
For me, it's Highrise.
Okay, yeah.
Because most years the Ben Wheatley film was in my top 3 at the end of the year.
Okay,
so
cool.
Hopefully that'll happen this time around.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching. That is some British films coming out this year, and stay locked to IGN to get reviews, news, trailers, and everything else about these movies.